He's about to put the video on right now.
All right, bet.
Yeah, your microphone working pretty well?
Yeah, sound good.
Test the system. All right, we're good. All right, cool. All right, for this episode, I think your episode, I think you're 173. Yeah, you got to be 173. Yeah, I know, I've been at this shit for a while. All right, hello. Welcome to the Mental Threads podcast. I have my guest, Mr. Jay Ford here. If you'd like to say hello.
What's up? How's everyone doing?
How you doing? Everything well?
I'm doing well.
Dope. I met Jay Ford back in Dreamville. Well, that's what we were talking about before. We're trying to figure out what year we met up because it's been a while. It was at Dreamville Fest. We met through a group chat for the Dreamville Festival. I don't know if this is the first one we were getting back from Dreamville after it was shut down.
I think it was.
First one?
I think so. Yeah, because I popped out by myself, and I think I found a group on Facebook.
Yes, somehow.
They made the group me chat or whatever, and everybody popped in there. It was like 100 people.
Yeah, it was really deep in that chat. And by some magical means, we all somehow met. It was my idea, by the way. I want to that we met up at the Ferris wheel and everything because I thought, okay, the Ferris wheel was the biggest thing out there, and it was pretty close to the entrance. Why not the Ferris wheel? Because when you go to Dreamville Fest and everything, like they got it in Dorothy Dix Park, and for some weird reason, just because there's so many people going at once, like it's just you can't get nothing through your phone. Like it just cut off the connection. So it's just like you got to bring like a walkie-talkie or something. And but by some magical means, we met up with everybody. We took a group picture and everything. I'm gonna put it in the video as well and everything. So it's just I think I had a couple people on the podcast through that, but it wasn't like on the podcast. It was like virtual. I think a philosopher. Right. I think Crystal. I don't know if you remember and everything. Yeah. Like I had her. I already did an episode with her through Zoom and everything. That's how we got that done. But now we're just doing it live, face to face type shit and everything. So it's like when I first met Jay Ford and everything through the group chat, we're dropping links to our music and everything. And I listened to his music and I'm like, dang, like this is so dope and everything. Like I was already a fan just off the sound and everything. One thing I really appreciate like is like your cadence like in your music, and as well as like you made it like you know, relatable in terms of like what your sound was. Like it was already professional, the cadence was good, and you know, it already sounded like you were like a legit artist already. Although it's just I didn't like who is Jay Ford? It's like what really? Okay, wow, this is dope. And I was like, man, this dude must have hella fans and everything like that. So it's just like And how long were you doing music?
At that time, we said that was 2022. So I did music in high school, like not taking it serious or anything. Did it in high school. And then came back in 2020 during COVID. We actually started making music again. So I would say like at this level, at that time it was 2 years.
At that time it was 2 years. It was pretty dope for 2 years, man. No, seriously. Yeah. And it's just like, look, go into detail about who Jay Ford is. Like, where are you from?
So originally from Kings Mountain, North Carolina, which is probably about 45 minutes from Charlotte, heading towards South Carolina.
Oh, really? Headed towards South Carolina. So it's kind of close to Rock Hill in a sense, or
it's I'm trying to, not really.
It's like somewhere in the middle, maybe.
Kind of in the middle, yeah. It's I'm trying to think. Like if you're heading towards the mountains, you'll kind of like come down and then back up.
Come down and then back up. Let's see if I can Google it for a minute. My apologies. It's just like this North Carolina education. They don't even tell us where these cities in town be at.
Yeah, all right, Kings west of Charlotte.
Mountain. Okay, city in Charlotte. All right, I think I found it. All right, I'm just trying to figure out exactly where it is, like on the map. Okay, I'm getting close. All right, I see Shelby. I see Gastonia. Okay, so you're like towards the mountain. All right, now, yeah, you were right. You're right. It was towards the mountain, but it's still pretty close to South Carolina. Right. All right, so like you're pretty much like a mountain boy in a sense.
To an extent, like everybody gets that idea when we say Kings Mountain. It's like, oh, you're in mountains. It's like, nah, it's kind of like a mixture of both. Because we're right there at the foothills, so you still get like you're close enough to the city to kind of get that side of things, but then you're also out in the country, so yeah, it's a lot of that.
So it's like 50-50, kind of a little spaced out. Like
half and half.
Yeah, so it's like it's kind of closer adjacent to like Gastonia.
It's exactly like Gastonia. Exactly, because like we're literally like 5 minutes from Gastonia, so it's exactly like Gastonia.
Okay, like I haven't been to Gastonia in a minute. I think last time I was in Gastonia was like last year. I had to I'm trying to help my friend out and everything with she was transitioning and everything in terms of like, you know, being homeless or whatever. We had to pass out there for like some weird reason and everything, but it was just like it seemed like a pretty dope spot. I know, like that. I think Gastonia was the first place like I saw a cookout that you could eat indoors, and everything was just like. And then they built one in Charlotte a while later. But it's like, wait, hold on, that's possible? These places exist? I thought that was pretty funny and everything. But it's just like, you know. But I know it's like, you know, in terms of these more humble type towns and everything, not a whole. It's not too heavy city influence and everything. Kind of 50-50. Like, would you say like growing up in a place like Kings Mountain and everything? How would you describe the experience? Like, you know,
small town, man. So everybody knows everybody, right? And even like on a parent standpoint, like your best friends, their parents probably grew up with your parents, or at least know them in some type of, you know, sense at all. But
that's
yeah,
cool.
I mean, just like, so it can be a good and a bad thing, right? Because like with a community like that, you would expect everybody to kind of help and uplift everybody. But then obviously, like, you always got your differences as well. So
really?
It's a little bit of both.
Oh, wow.
And I would say, like, I haven't lived out there in years now, but just the culture shift that's happened out there from the time I was there, it shifted a lot based on, like, their football program and stuff.
Oh, really?
It's kind of got pretty big out there. So it's becoming more of, like, just a traditional kind of town now. And they just built a casino out there as well. So it's kind of, like, growing. So
going a little bit more. Okay. I feel like that's pretty dope and everything, because you see how Charlotte's been growing and everything.
Exactly.
So it's not like now that we're seeing all these little towns kind of growing a little bit more, getting a little exposure and everything. So it's like the thing to do in Kings Mountain is more like so it's like more like a football city, or it's just growing into one.
I would say right now, it's definitely kind of leaning on the back of that.
Yeah, I noticed like a bit of a theme like that. Like I've had somebody on, I think from Thomasboro, I think uptown, like up north a little bit. It's like they got a whole football situation going on there, because I think that's like, what universities goes there? I forget.
I know if it's up northern, it's probably like Elon or some shit like that.
It wasn't Elon I was thinking of. It was like a different university. I'm trying to think. 'Cause I know my brother used to play football out there too. Like he had a game out there, and I remember, I think somewhere close out there, but I forgot what it was called and everything. But I'm thinking pretty close on that Elon University type of situation. So it's like, yeah. Do you feel like maybe like these little towns, like in a sense, like it's kind of like a good breeding town for like, you know, like football stars in a sense? Like, was there anybody big that came out of like, you know, maybe say at Kings Mountain or something like that?
I say like yes and no, right? So like probably like 20 minutes from us, you got Crest. So I mean, you got like Brandon Spikes, Raheem Ledbetter. I'm gonna miss a ton of names, so I'm not even gonna try to get on the list. But like they won, you know, Crest and Shelby have won the state championship like 3 or 4 times in a row at one time, and then Kings Mountain has made it, you know, far into the playoffs a lot too. So I'll say yes and no, because you always get overshadowed by like your bigger programs, like your Charlotte schools and stuff like that, obviously. But out of like, you know, 11 people on the field, you'll at least have 1 or 2 stars that'll make it, at least in the college, so to speak, like that D1 level. So yeah, it's been getting better out there for sure.
Okay, that's dope. And I heard that you, since outside of Kings Mountain, like where are some other places that you live?
So I went from Kings Mountain. I went to I actually ran track in college at Barton College for a very short amount of time. So that's going out towards like Greenville, North Carolina, towards like the coast and stuff. So I lived there for a couple months, probably like 6 months or so. Moved back and ended up living in Gastonia for years, many years, and just moved. Well, went from Gastonia to Belmont, moved back to Gastonia, and then just moved to Charlotte. So now, stay.
And you're just 10 minutes away from the studio.
10 minutes away now, yeah. So I just moved to North Charlotte, probably like 2 months ago now. So.
Okay, and how do you describe places like Belmont? And we already talked about Gastonia pretty much.
I mean, Belmont is just like Belmont, Gastonia, Kings Mountain, pretty much the same. Same, all the way until you get to Charlotte. Then it's like once you pass through Charlotte, you start seeing like Concord, Kannapolis, and stuff like that, and it dies back out. So the closer you get, obviously, the bigger the population gets, the more things there's to do. That's about it, though. It's all the same.
Okay, and when, like, in terms of the differences from living in Charlotte, because, like, you just moved in, like, what, a couple months ago or something like that? All right, so it's like, and, like, we had this conversation. You say that maybe you kind of prefer, like a Belmont or Gastonia.
Yeah, I definitely prefer the outskirts, just, like, from a living standpoint. Because you're close enough to get what you need from the city, and then you can always go back home, and you ain't got nobody bothering you. So, like, I've been able to be in the Charlotte scene for since I started music.
Yeah, we've seen you a lot, like at multiple Charlotte Spark events and everything.
Yeah, it's definitely been easy to kind of balance the two. Definitely come in, get what you need to do, and then bounce back out. But I think it'll do me good being actually in the city now. So we'll see where that goes.
So you kind of get like more like a professional like stance in terms of like going to Charlotte, like getting more eyes on your music and ears on your music type stuff.
I think that's the goal. I think like coming from a smaller town and stuff, you have to find what big city is closest to you that can help you blow. And for us, I think it's, definitely Atlanta and Charlotte are like the two breeding grounds that you kind of got to get yourself into.
And Memphis to a degree too, yeah.
Memphis as well. And I know Chuck T talked about this recently or whatever, but I think a lot of us sleep on North Carolina as a whole because, we do have out in Fayetteville, you have, like
J. Cole.
Nah. You have like the military bases and stuff out there. So like North Carolina is like a melting pot of people, and even like Charlotte, like you meet a lot of people from the DC area, from New York, from wherever coming to Charlotte,
especially New York.
So it's nothing. If you gain a fan in Charlotte, you might gain a fan that's gonna spread that music back home.
Yes,
and it's endless, and not enough of us really take that. Take advantage of that. And I think like this year especially, we've really tried to hone in on that side of it. Just trying to find like, all right, Charlotte's cool. You get your foot in the door. But Charlotte is so divided when it comes to their types of music that we don't uplift other types of music. As fucked up as that sounds, right?
No, it's not fucked up. We speak about it all the time. Like literally, like doing stuff like this, like the podcast and everything. I got Chris Gear on. I had Queenie Love on. I had Trey Rhodes on. We all, even Sam DeNovo, like we speak about it all the time about like the importance of building community in our own city and everything. Like, and you pointed out like one thing too. Like it's just like there's so many different people from different like people who are from Charlotte are like becoming like the minority from people who just moved into Charlotte. Like you're one of them. You just moved into Charlotte, but you're still from North Carolina. But we have people from other states as well, and it's just like literally, you don't know. Like they might have like a cousin or something out of town and everything. It's like, oh wow, hold on, this is who you're listening to. As soon as all it takes is one share, bro, and then someone to get somebody's ear on. But I feel like even with that, like even in Charlotte, it's hard for people to like support each other and everything, and especially in North Carolina as a whole. You say you're going through it in the sense at Kings Mountain for people to uplift each other. And,
especially like and definitely like seeing it more in like the high school years and stuff like that. Like it's kind of weird. Like I don't know, man. Maybe it's a South thing where you automatically go into where your lane is, and then instead of being able to combine these lanes, we kind of just stick with them, and it's like don't ever get out of that, and that's kind of fucked up. Because like as an artist doing the type of music I do, I like to break out of my comfort zone a lot.
It's okay.
So
do that.
It's hard to do that sometimes.
It really is, but it's important to do that because it helps your versatility as an artist as well. You don't want to just do the same thing over and over again, and then it gets stale over time. And then when you want to do something different, it's be like, what are you doing something different for? You're not used to that. But at the same token, it's like, I know, like, there's so many different styles or whatever, but at the same token, like, you got to bounce back off Atlanta. There's so many different sounds out of Atlanta. You could be having a Childish Gambino. You'll have a Young Thug. You'll have a dang, Andre 3000, a Big Boy and everything, T.I. and everything. There's so many different diverse styles, although like trap is like one of the most like, upheld type of sounds in Atlanta and everything. The key difference between Atlanta and Charlotte is that Atlanta, they'll work with each other.
Exactly.
Even Jeezy and Gucci Mane hopped on for a versus, and their history of having issues with each other. So it's like,
it's like, and that was kind of my point in that was all the lanes in Atlanta, they'll come together and kind of lift each other up. Whereas Charlotte, like, if you're a lyrical, conscious rapper like myself, you don't really hear much about or get into the same rooms with your trap rappers out of Charlotte. So I can't name you three.
And
you know what I'm saying? I don't know. So I'm guilty of it as well. Okay. But if you ask them, they can't name you three conscious rappers. So it's like people ask me who I think the bigger artists are out of Charlotte. And when I say my people, they're like, who is that? And I'm like, bro, these people are going on nationwide tours, selling out shows, and you don't know who they are.
Oh, really?
Because you don't listen to conscious rap. So it's kind of weird.
Oh, really? And you don't know the people off the top of the head that you want to speak
about? Like
on?
Conscious rap?
Yeah, sure.
And for me, I would definitely say Mavi.
Okay.
You got Mavi, Loot, and
Loot's pretty good.
Yeah, Rueben Vincent.
Yeah, Rueben Vincent. Yeah,
that's my 3 right now. But like if I'm on like a conversation talking about the popularity side of it, people don't know who these people are, and I'm like, that's crazy to me.
and Rueben actually performed at Dreamville Fest that one year. I remember, and that's great because I'm Liberian too, and I'm from Charlotte and everything. So I see him around every now and then and everything. You know, like his stepmom is actually friends with my mom.
Okay,
actually.
bet.
So it's just like I don't see him like at the family events, but I see him like at the Liberian Independence Day Festival we having like in Sugar Creek and everything. We need to change to a different like field because there'd be no parking. But at the same token, it's just like, I also see him like he be showing up at the Assay wrestling events. I don't know if you're into wrestling or whatever, but he be performing there too. So it's like he be doing his thing for like showing up in Charlotte for sure. So we got to give props to Rueben at all. I know like maybe not mainstream, but he's doing his due diligence to get his music out there. And you don't even really have to be mainstream to be mainstream. Like Kendrick, J. Cole, like maybe Drake's a little bit more mainstream, but it's like, but definitely J. Cole and Kendrick especially. Like they don't talk about guns or whatever, trying to kill people, whatever. Like they try to make you think or make you feel. Exactly. So it's just like, and they're the top of the game.
Nah, that's facts.
That's because their fan base, like me and you, we showed up. Like, have you showed up pretty much at every Dreamville Fest?
Yeah, since that one, I've been to every one since that.
Since that one, I've been to every single one. Even
I didn't go to the first one, but
even though one day one,
to all of those.
Yeah, you just gotta show up, man. It's just, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and the park is hard. Like I already got my hotel locked down for me and my brother already. Cause I know they're trying to drop tickets this month.
Oh yeah.
Because it's November, so it's just like they try to sneak up on you all.
I don't know what I'm gonna do, bro. I don't know if I'm gonna wait till the lineup or if I don't know.
At least they got layaway plans, you know.
That's true too. Man, I was disappointed with last year.
Last year, you weren't feeling it either. After the third year, like when they got everybody out from Drake, Lil Wayne, and everybody, it was
tough to top that.
It was
and
tough.
Then with the whole I didn't like the lineup from the jump, and then the sound system was terrible that year.
Yes.
Even on like Cole's stage during his set, his sound went out.
Yes. And I was like, dude, somebody need to lose their job.
Yeah, facts.
Dang, you did not want to put that on your resume. It's like, I kept fucking up a festival and everything. But yeah, especially I felt bad for Rema and everything, the Afrobeats. I listened to Rema heavy and everything. So it was like, I felt like, oh wow, we're gonna finally see him in person. And then they kept fucking up his sound system. I'm like, no, why are they doing this? Like that's so unfortunate and everything.
The right thing though, man. You gotta stand on that shit. Like he gave him a chance to fix it. They ain't fix it. I'm leaving. Like so I get it.
I get it. I hope it just doesn't really impact his career. I'm pretty sure it did.
I think it would have already.
Yeah, for sure. But it's like I feel like that was an opportunity that kind of got messed up
That's
over
true
some technical. But they need to fix that moving on to the next one. 'Cause I know even the year before that, I think I remember the first time I heard a sound system issue was for Earth Gang concert. I forget which year. Was that the year like 2022 or I think it was 2022? Probably 2022. Like. If that's the case, then it's just like, and then that was the only time. But now it's like multiple sets are getting messed up, and it's like that's not a good look in terms of like for festival wise and everything, because like what other festivals have you been to besides Dreamville?
So my favorite festival I've been to is Day in Vegas.
Oh really?
They stopped it. I went both years, and I bought tickets to the third year as well, and they ended up having to cancel it. And they haven't came back yet, so I don't know what's up with that.
And who runs Day in Vegas? That sounds familiar.
I have no idea who runs it. I just know the lineup be crazy.
And what would usually be on the lineup? Like,
shit. The first year, and I could be wrong. I want to say the first year it was J. Cole, Travis Scott, and Tyler the Creator.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
I think it was the 3 headliners. And the second year was Kendrick Lamar, Tyler the Creator, and maybe SZA. I can't remember who the other headliner was. But it was crazy. It's always
It's like a 3-day event or it's like 1 day?
It's 3 days.
Just 3 days? Okay, so like one headliner per day.
Per day,
Okay, and Tyler the Creator was showing up to a lot of them and everything. I haven't seen Tyler. Yeah, that was the first concert I went to was a Tyler the Creator concert.
Really?
Yeah, for like when Cherry Bomb came out.
I would say
a little bit smaller.
Probably I don't want to say the best, but probably the best like live performance that I've seen. Oh,
it's okay. It's all right.
Probably the best live performance I've seen was probably Tyler. Like he puts on the show for sure.
Yeah, but that was probably like past the Cherry Bomb days, right?
Yeah, it was definitely. It was
Flower Boy, or was it like
Igor and Call Me If You Get Lost? Both.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. I bet the tickets were expensive, but it was at actual like.
It was at the festival.
At a festival.
But
okay.
The thing with Day in Vegas is they let you put your whole setup, so it's just like going to a Tyler show instead of it being like, oh, I'm just on stage. It was the entire set, so it was pretty dope. Yeah.
That is pretty dope. I haven't seen Tyler the Creator since I was in like high school. Yeah.
So I went to that. Day in Vegas is definitely my favorite festival, and then I've actually been to a Rolling Loud as well. I went to Rolling Loud in Miami, and I do not suggest it.
Oh really? Like, is it really that bad?
It's bad, man. For me, but I also went
Because there's too many people there.
It was rough. It's too many people. The layout of the festival is pretty bad. We walked, I want to say like 45 minutes just to get into the line for the festival.
Oh, really?
And then you wait like another 45 minutes to get into the festival.
Gotta go early, man. I remember I was in line for a long time. I went to the Roots picnic in Philadelphia, and it was pretty dope and everything. Cause I got to see Method Man and Redman and everything. Oh shit! And who else? I got to see Lil Wayne again, so that was pretty dope. Yeah. And everything. So it's like, you know, but I don't know. I feel like Dreamville is just my personal favorite because I'm always going just for the community.
Yeah. It's the community. Yes, it's a different vibe. Everybody's family out there.
Really, and just like that picture was just so dope and everything. I can't wait to put that in like a album and everything, like physically print it out to put it in an album. I'd be like, oh, who's all these people? It's like we just met up at a concert. What had me cracking up is like those some people that weren't even in the group chat that was just trying to take a picture. It's like, wait, were you in the group chat? It's like, no, we're just here to have fun.
All right, well, come on, fuck it.
Seriously, and everything, and like that. One of my main goals is like, hopefully, if I get to that point and everything, and hopefully, if Dreamville keeps going on till then, we're still good. Yeah, we have 20-minute increments. I forgot to tell you about. Okay. So it's like we're past 20 minutes right now, so it's like we're about to get back on record. It's already back on. So, okay, bet. And I really want to like perform at Dreamville and everything, but I have yet to perform even once and everything. I feel like you're pretty close. I feel like you can.
Man, we're trying to get That's the Side, right? So we know, like, and this is for my group as a whole. Shout out to PTP Records. Our entire group, we got like a solid starting 5 is what I like to call it. It's the 5 active people that's on our label. You got myself, you got Young Apollo, you got DDA Tink now, Austin Davis, and my boy Savvy Mulatto. Okay. And that is like a strong 5. So for us, we're trying to find ways to like start getting into shows that we feel like show our worth and our value, right? Mm-hmm. So like this year I made it a goal of myself to do just to get out into the Charlotte scene. Okay. So I started doing open mics, started out having to pay for open mics and stuff. So I'm paying like $15, $20 just to go in, perform 2-3 songs. Mm-hmm. That turned into building relationships with people that are like, okay, we're not going to charge you, so just come perform for free.
That's dope.
And then that turns into, hey, I got this opportunity for you to come get paid.
Okay.
Now that turns into, you know, like, you can do what you want now. You curate your own stuff. So June 8th, I threw a listening party. But I like curated it as a show, made my own little lineup, and then performed myself. And we sold 100 tickets. We sold out the show, 100 tickets off of just strictly word of mouth. We didn't even post a link or anything like that. So it was like, okay, we're capable of doing these things. Mm-hmm. What's next? And that's what's next. It's like, okay, how do we get on these little, like the Charlotte things that we have in like
Charlotte Spark.
Like Spark is dope. You got even things that's bigger than that, right? So like there's a couple lineups I've saw. Damani's came and he's on. Tia Corrine's been on, like Rueben Vincent. Those type of lineups. It's like, all right, how do we get onto these? And it's really just consistency, getting your name out there and then networking with the right people. So my biggest goal right now is like, okay, I got to start networking and put myself in rooms with these eyes. And hopefully that leads to a Dreamville slot.
Oh yeah, no, for real, it's gonna take a lot of work for sure.
Definitely.
And keep in mind, Rueben Vincent was actually signed to Rock Nation, so it's just like, you know, just that's already like, I don't want to say it's like a pass on it, but it's like that would pretty much get them in there.
It's almost like a layup to an extent, but you still got to put that work in, right?
Still got to put in a lot of work.
Whoever curates Dreamville is not going to be like, oh well, you're signed to, you know, Knife Wonder and this and this, so let's just throw you on here. And it's like, nah, like, you still gotta be a dope artist, right?
And it's not even about, you don't gotta even be on the set, because I know like there was some days like before Dreamville, and you know, the Dreamville event, I think there was like one artist I saw out there that was for the whole loot situation, and it was a guy named Leroy, I think. Okay. I don't even know if you got to see him perform, but he was really, really dope, and I got to contact him. I'm trying to see if I can get him an interview as well.
Like even like that thing, right? Like the Loot's Garage set or whatever. My boy Tommy Robbins was on there, Troya was on there. So these are people that like we've mingled with. We've been on sets with these people. And it's like, all right, cool. Now let's get to y'all's level, right? Because I think that's the next step, is getting to those type of events. So I don't know, man. It's just putting the work in.
Do you feel like it's just like a filter in terms of reaching that level, or is it just like you're just still gonna keep doing the same thing until
it's strictly who you know? It is strictly who you know. You hit a certain plateau where it's like, okay, you make good music and you make good music steadily, right? And I feel like we're there, and that's not from a cocky standpoint or nothing like that. No. But like I
listen to your music.
I truly feel like my music speaks for itself, and it's like, okay, you should be here. But it's like, if these people that can put you here don't hear your music, it don't matter.
Yeah.
You could play your song and 1 million people hear your song, but if that one person that can make a difference does not hear it, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. And they're always listening to new artists. So it's like really trying to get that one that catches their eye.
And that's the thing too. Like, you still got to humble yourself, because for every Jay Ford, there's probably like 100, 200 artists that's better than me, that's working harder than me. Or not better than me, but they're working harder. So even if, like, say like I'm a level 10 and this person's a level 8, but he catches this person's attention before I do, well, fuck, that spot's already filled. So that's where, like, all right, hard work always beats talent.
Of course.
So, but if you combine the two, it's unstoppable.
Of course.
So I think that's where we're at now. It's like, all right, let's start working hard. Let's stay consistent.
And at least you're actually humble and self-reflective to the point where, okay, I can still get better as an artist.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's like, you can always improve at the same time, too. And you're already at a stage, talent-wise, where it's like, I could see you opening up for other major artists if you wanted to. But it had to be of an artist that's of the same type of feel. Like, I could definitely see of a J. Cole type, or maybe a Lute type.
Somebody said Wale.
I can see Wale, Wale for sure. Because Wale is a rapper. He doesn't really rap about, trying to kill or whatever, although some people might not mess with him or whatever. I think Wale's dope and everything. Like, or maybe even Big Sean. You never know, and everything. So it's just like, as long as people see you brush shoulders with like those major figures and everything, then it's like, I love going to that Big Sean concert, but I really like listening to that one dude named Jay Ford. I need to check him out a little bit more. And then you just it kind of rolls. It grows right off that and everything. And you already have a lot of content already for people to even dive into. Like, before J. Cole really blew up, like, with, like, although he was already had Born Sinner and everything, it was really 2014 Forest Hills Drive that kind of solidified him as an artist. After that, everybody just couldn't wait for the next project or the next song and everything. I feel like that's what established him as the GOAT and everything. But it was all a process. But when you think about, like, for us, for a lot of people who were fans of J. Cole and everything, it was really like his mixtapes, like the Come Up and everything, Friday Night Lights, stuff like that. That's what really got you hung on, like, J. Cole as an artist and everything. So it's like, all that commercial stuff, like, sure, it's good for, like, the masses, but it's really just a mixtape.
That's also content, a big step too, is like what you say about having music for people to go back and listen to, or having a catalog or whatever like that. Even with Cole, it's like, all right, well, you get put on 2014 Forest Hills Drive. Imagine if he didn't have those mixtapes, though, for people to go back and listen to, or he didn't have Borden Center or Sideline Story and shit like that for people to go back and listen to. It is nothing to grasp. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, well, you drop this project, fans come and go. That's the problem with today, is people will make this one hit. People listen to it, and there ain't shit else for them to go listen to.
And it's hard to be consistent past that, because you always try to top yourself, as opposed to like have like, okay, this guy made this one song and back then, and that's what helps with Josh Gambino and everything. Like, he had Royalty, he had like the Campfire, I think that's what it was called. So I listened to a lot when I was like going to community college and everything. So it's just stuff like that. Like, even when he tries new things and everything, he's like, sure, this is nice, but I want to listen to some old stuff. Like, that's what really anchors you to an artist, is that catalog and everything. Plus, I don't know if you heard about this event. Hold on, let me see something I'm looking at right now. Oh my God, come on, man. Just let me freaking, I'm trying. You see me. You see my face. All right, so this is thing called Sold Out Dates, a Campfire and everything. I think they're going to have some artists like, have you heard about this?
I saw the recap.
Saw the recap?
Of the last one they had.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can pull up to that one, just to kind of see what they're about, because I think they be having artists probably performing there as well. So it's like, it's good to kind of keep on up of all these other events that's going on in Charlotte, because, like, I didn't even realize, like, because I went for, like, a concert for Bambazilla. I don't know if I know you heard about Bambazilla. And, like, like, he was performing at this place and everything, and it was, like, near Sugar Creek, and I didn't even know, like, they were using that building for anything, and it was so large and everything. The only thing is, it wasn't a whole lot of people there that I thought, like, it was a lot of space, but it wasn't like a whole lot to fill, Gotcha. It felt like you feel like a glass that was like, halfway full type stuff, or like a quarter of the way full type stuff and everything. And I'm like, okay, I'm seeing like the potential's there. Like, we already know where these venues are at and everything. It's really just a matter of just building a community. And I feel like even Charlotte as a whole, like, we need to really show up and everything. That's why even for like Charlotte Spark, I still showed up, even though it's just like, even though I wasn't performing at the same, just to kind of connect with new artists as well, even though I had to go to work that night and everything. It's like, it's just all that support and everything, because, it's one thing to like say like, oh, what we got to do, but you got to put the work and actually show up. And y'all show up. We got to show up as well too. And it's like, I hate to say it, but even Charlotte, I spoke about it so many times, but I feel like that's the opposite of where Texas is. Texas fuck with themselves and everything.
Yeah,
they're not afraid to put themselves on.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's just like a sense of fear for Charlotte and North Carolina to really put ourselves on. We have to blow up somewhere else before we blow up in our own town.
Yep.
And it sucks. And it's like I feel like it comes to a lack of infrastructure.
People want to blow up, right? That's the problem. Like, stop wanting to blow up. Just make music. You know what I mean? Just make your music and let that do the work. Let that do the work for you or whatever. Because when you try to blow up, that's where you lose your passion, you lose your craft, and
I feel like
everything.
you're scamming yourself.
You just start trying to make like something pop. Stop doing that. And that's the problem with Charlotte. Like, you can be an artist in Charlotte and nobody else in the world know you but Charlotte and still be successful.
Exactly.
Just sell out shows. That's it. If people fuck with you and you build a fan base of even just 500 people, if these 500 people come to every single show that you do, you're good. You can eat off that for life. People don't have that mindset, though. They think, oh, I got to be on the radio. I got to be on this, and this. And it's like you don't. And I always compare it to, like, why does hip-hop have that mindset? That's it.
Have the mindset.
If you see, like, country artists or alternative artists and things like that, people that play the guitar and sing,
they just love to do it.
They go to bars and they'll just perform at bars and let people pay $5 for tickets and shit like that. It's like, why are we not doing that?
I guess it's because we lack identity and everything. So. And I feel like that's where it all comes from. Because it's like when we think about like a successful artist, they're always coming from different places. Like, you know, Tupac, although he was born in Baltimore, he got pretty much blew up in California. And you think about like Biggie Smalls, it was in New York. You think about the Jay-Z's. You think about so many people from these eras who dominated a whole decade and everything, and are pretty much in the history books. And we're still talking about them to this day. They haven't even. Some of them died before I even was born. So that's like, this is something to consider. It's just like, we have to build a mythos within ourselves. We got to build like an interest to invest within ourselves. Once you start investing into yourself and like, you know, like into your community and everything, that's why it's important to show up to these events and pretty much show love as much as you can, repost, do whatever, give a shout out. Because even if you don't even get a whole lot of views, somebody's seeing it and everything. And it's just, I feel like Charlotte is just kind of more like a dick rider city. And the moment things like don't go a certain way, then it's like, you know, fuck that guy, you know. Like, you know, the baby is like, I appreciate the baby for everything that he did and everything. I still support him to this day, you know. But as soon as like he started getting controversy or being blackballed or canceled, I feel like we should have put more support out for him as an artist instead of just like, you know, like being like cold off him for that.
I agree.
I feel like I feel like we owe like the baby an apology for that, honestly, because that wasn't even anything to even be cold on him for.
Well, and even you look at the comments and stuff when all that stuff was going on, like the biggest haters were from the city.
And that sucks.
It's crazy. But that's how it is out here.
And it wasn't even that deep. I know, like, maybe he gets in the situation with the shooting at the Huntersville Walmart, the fight with his baby mama's brother or something.
It was a lot of shit.
And then, like, them trying to freaking sue him. It's like, but you tried to set up to fight him, though. Like, you know, it's just dumbass shit. Like, and then trying to sue the dude. Like, come on, have some pride in yourself. Like, you got your ass kicked at a bowling alley and you were slipping and sliding. It happens. But it's just like, even that, like, all that was to stress him out, you know, people trying to get him fights while he trying to shop for clothes and everything like that. Like, what is that? You know, why would you do this and treat like someone who's literally trying to put the city on? Instead of trying to follow his league, you're trying to like antagonize him.
Yeah, well, Cole said that before too. It's like people keep fucking up the get out, right? So it's like, that's what we do in Charlotte. So when somebody gets here, it's like, it's envy, right? Nobody's jealous. It's all envy here. Everybody wants, they think, oh, I need to be in that spot. The only way I can get here is knock you off. It don't make sense.
Yeah, but that's the thing about envy and jealousy that I feel like people got to understand. Like, envy, everybody feels envy. Like, when you freaking go to the gym, you see somebody freaking pushing like 500 pounds and everything, you're gonna feel envy a little bit. Like, dang, he got that big and everything. Like, how did he get to that point? How does he and everything? But then, like, that's the thing about being a man. Instantly, you just like, oh yeah, that's right. He probably worked for it.
The work in.
He definitely stressed out. Yeah, because we know even when you go to the gym and work out, you're gonna feel tired. Yeah. So it's like you got to be a certain type of consistency, a certain type of mind power and willpower to get through it. Same shit with music.
Like, how'd you get so good? Because I fucking work my ass off.
Work your ass off. And then it's just like, even if it's not even working out, some people just have certain things that the next person might have. Someone might be better at speaking. Somebody might be better at, interviewing. Somebody might be a little bit more better at finding the right fashion and getting their merchandise out and or building more of a relationship with their fan base, keeping consistent on that end. You know, it's just like, and it doesn't necessarily knock off what you have to offer And that's what people fail to understand. And that's where jealousy kicks in. You focus more on what you don't have and what someone else has and trying to, like, you know, belittle them as an individual to make yourself feel larger. And all it is, it's obsessiveness, you know, very effeminate behavior. Because, no, man, why would you even act that way? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm always inspired. Every time I see one of y'all on stage or whatever, it's just like, oh, wow, I'm just like a step away. If I just take that step the same way he does, if I get inspired, if I do what I got to do, everything will be well.
That's how I do too, man. I try to, like, because there's a lot of artists that I watch perform and I'm like, oh, okay, I can incorporate this into what I do as well.
Yes.
And I try to do that and get better. And then immediately when they get off stage, I'm like, yo, let's lock in.
You dap them up. You be like, good job. Good.
Some people don't do that shit. Some people hate it. And it is what it is. But also, man, it comes from, like, be realistic too with what you do. Like, we can't all be rappers, singers, whatever. I can't make merch to save my fucking life, so I don't try. But then there's people out here that make great merch that don't make merch because they want to rap, and it's like, bro, we don't need. Stop.
But you can learn from the next person.
You
can.
If
they want to be an artist, they can learn from you. And you want to make merch, you can learn from them. Right there, partnership.
That's true too. That's
right
true
there.
Too.
You just had a bit of partnership. Just like sometimes, but you have to be humble with yourself, and that's where it's at. But if you want to find success in music, it all comes with everything, consistency, and just constantly. I don't want to have to say like being obsessed, but being focused. And everything. Once you're focused on a deadline, okay, I got to get this amount of work done by this time. And even if you have to overreach a deadline, reschedule a deadline, no problem. At least you put the work in. Some type of work in between the deadline that you put.
That's why I respect your ass, because, bro, we were supposed to do this fucking, I don't even know how long ago.
It happens.
And it just never lined up. And it's like, all right, but you never gave up on that. It was like every time I saw you, I got to get you on the pod. All right, bet. And it finally worked out. So
I'm having a deadline to have 200 episodes out before the end of the year, but we're like rolling like a month and a half away and everything. It takes $35 to do this right now. But it's like at the same time, it's like I still have to budget that, live my own life things at the same time, find my own time to work. And stuff like that. I got my own responsibilities I got to be on top of as well. But it's like, you know, because I believe in like where this podcasting going and everything. And like, I believe in my music career in the future as well. But there's things I need to work on, you know. And what this podcast does for me is it helps me connect with others, you know, build that, you know, repertoire with them, network with them, get their background, get their outlook on something. Because, like, y'all might point out something that I might not even notice within the issues. You know, you just brought up, like, how, like, so the different sounds in Charlotte and everything and how, like, you know, like, we just really don't invest in each other. While, like, Atlanta's right up the street and they live, that's all they do.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, and we've agreed with that with so many different artists. You know, so it's just like, it's just off the jump. It's just something that we all just need to work on as artists as whole. But it's just like, you know, for us to even like be reflective to that degree, to even agree on that degree, we know where the problem is. So what we're going to do, we're going to focus on fixing that problem. And that's why people like Trey Rhodes are so important. People like DDA Tink is so important because it's like, you know, like these are the people who actually bind us all together, you know, to actually get something going and everything. Once we build a solid foundation for a community, then we can be able to actually focus on where it's going and everything. That's like, and I had that conversation with Adrian Nice. I don't know if you heard about the Now That Our podcast. Have you been on this podcast?
No, I was supposed to do it one night and then something happened. It was during the dope show. I was supposed to do it right after the dope show, and the lights or some shit. It was something fucked up. But yeah, I've known him for a while though. I've known him since he was in like high school.
Oh really? Oh yeah, because he was from.
I think he went to Olympic, but I knew him when he did the cross country shit, like ran across the country.
Oh so, yeah, he did do a documentary on that too. We spoke about that as well. But it's just like that. He even pushed out just like literally like this, just lack of infrastructure in Charlotte. You know, there's not an A/B type situation on how to get something. There's so many ways you can do something, but it's like it's all different.
Yeah, that and then like who's gonna take responsibility for this, right? Like we don't have nobody big enough that's able to invest in like no disrespect to Arnold Taylor. Like I met Arnold Taylor when I went to a writing camp in Miami or whatever. And I think he's doing a great job with SCMG and stuff like that. But at the same time, like you're still outsourcing outside of Charlotte a lot. And it's like, okay, bring that back home. Like you have hella talent home. Why are we outsourcing this out? And that's fine. But it's like, all right. And I think that lies more on the baby as well. It's like, all right, you have an opportunity to actually invest into these local artists and get them. And it's not his job though; it's not his responsibility by any means.
But it would help.
But it would help.
But it would kind of help on him as well. Like you see how J. Cole does with the whole Dreamville thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that helped reinvigorates his career and keeps it fresh because you're always bringing new faces into his circle. With whether it be Lutz or Boz or Boz, we known for a while, JID, and then like Ari Lennox and so on and so forth. These are all heavy hitters and everything. Although like when you compare it to a Drake or whatever, okay, yeah, they're not that level, but it's like
so that's a great example though, right? So like even Cole with Dreamville is like, all right, you just name me all these artists, name one of those that's from North Carolina. None of them.
That is true.
The only one from North Carolina is Lute. So but you look at like even with Drake, majority of the artists that Drake puts on that nobody knows about is from Toronto. They're from Canada.
That is true.
Look at Young Thug. Young Thug brought up a whole fucking group of people
from Atlanta.
So it's like, who do we have here that's doing that? Nobody. They immediately get out and work other places and stuff. And that's fine. It's not your responsibility.
And sometimes
but the mindset with Charlotte people is like, oh, I worked hard to get here. You should have to do the same shit. No, nigga, like it don't.
Just open the door, bro. Like it takes step by step. You know, the pyramids weren't built in a day. Rome wasn't built in a day. Everything starts brick by brick. You know, like old dude off Snowfall, brick by brick.
But I think it'll get there though, for sure.
Yeah, no, for certainly. I feel like it's very possible. I feel like the potential is really there, and it's like it's just the middle of the 2020s right now. Yeah, by the end of the 2020s, who knows where we're gonna be?
That's true.
Man, we're gonna be looking back at these episodes like, man, we really had this conversation. Now we all live in a mansion. Like it's just stuff like that. But it's like really once you fall in love like with the work, actually getting something out there, actually like, you know, building something that people can appreciate, whether it's like art, like painting, pictures, whatever, and everything, you know, you're gonna draw people who really share that interest and everything. Beyond a lot of people we met, possibly a lot of people on our way to this point, you know, and you probably met some people that you just didn't get along with, you don't know what it is or whatever, you just didn't click, and there's some people that you just, you know, for the time. But at the same time, it's just like you probably met people that you just pretty much tap in with, like a DD18. Because you just recently just signed to your label and everything. And, you know, that would take a lot of trust and potential for investment. But you have to at least, like, vibe with the person first to get an understanding of, like, how they work and everything like that. You know, that's what's wonderful about, like, people who are serious about this music shit. You're only going to attract people who are serious.
Exactly.
And that's just, but then you're also going to attract people who aren't serious and then who get emotional and then feel all types of. I've met people who are assholes, bro. And it's like they motivate me to do better. But most importantly, they motivate me to not be like them and everything. Because it's like that's a huge like detriment to like your development as an artist to be like one detriment for other artists. And everything, you know, it's just like, and like, you know, just with this podcast, it just kind of aligns to my nature. I'm like naturally an extrovert. My brother says I'm an extrovert. Sometimes I don't believe. I think I'm an ambivert, but it's like at the same time, I use it as like, you know, as a skill that could actually like help others as well. You know, like this gives y'all, since y'all can be able to speak from your perspective and everything. And this is another way y'all can use to connect with y'all fans as well. So like when they listen to like J4, it's like, wow, I want to learn more about him. Then they see an episode, then they see your face and see how you talk and how you reason. So, oh wow, I relate to that. I get where dude's coming from. Okay. And like now and then on top of that, they're listening to past episodes of other artists they probably never heard of, and then they listen to their music and it's like, oh wow, they're really doing it out here in Charlotte. So it all starts. Now they see the faces, and that's what I'm trying to curate. Once they see the faces, they hear the backstory and everything, they'll be able to relate to y'all and everything in a different light outside of music. You know what I mean? Just talking and everything like that. But plus, we only got like some time left, and I want to be able to focus on you back as an artist and everything. So it's like, you know, and becoming like an artist and everything, what really led you to become an artist?
So my story is basically starting in high school. I was writing poetry and I was putting my poems out on YouTube at the time. Dope. And there were some classmates or whatever, they would hear it and they actually made music. So they're like, oh, we got to get you in the studio. And I'm like, nah, really, man, I'm good. And they're like, nah, just do what you're doing and put it on beats. And we're like, all right, fuck it. So we go, we do it. Started like this little small group and everything. We was handing out CDs and shit. And it was cool. And then it never really, I didn't have a passion for it though. So I was never thinking like, oh, I'm gonna be a rapper, I'm gonna be this or this. And it fell off. And then like I said, bounced back 2020. My boy Austin Davis has been making music since he was in high school, and he's a couple years older than I am. And I started hanging out with them again during COVID and everything. And I'm like, damn, like I think I could really get back in the studio now. And they're like, if I could come do music, this, and this. So get back in the studio. I do this. My homeboy Don was doing music, and this girl Nia Marie we used to do music with. We just started laying out songs. Quality wasn't there, nothing, but the lyrics were there. So it was like, okay, I got something I can work on. Around the end of 2020, I was like, I want to work on an album. So started writing Through My Eyes. And I was like, I just want to vent about all the shit I've been through. So I did that. And I went to, I don't know if you know Nigel or not from Charlotte. He's a producer.
Yeah, I heard the name. What's the last name? Nigel?
I have no idea, but it's like NXGEL is how it's spelled.
NXGEL. Okay.
But he was at Titan Studios at the time, and we would go there, knocked out the entire album and everything, put it out. It did great. Did like amazing numbers, and we're like, all right, we're going to do this. And at that time, Austin's brother, Tanner, he was like, yo, I'm starting this independent label. I want you to be the first artist to, put a project out under our label and, sign to us and everything like that. Did the paperwork, looked over everything, boom, signed. So then we put Through My Eyes out under PTB Records, and it just went from there. So within the contract, we tried to work it out to where I have to drop a project every single year. And I'm like, all right, cool, we'll do that. So did Through My Eyes, dropped that in 2021. And I'm like, all right, throughout 2021, I started working on Vent My Child. And we dropped that late 2022. And then after Vent My Child, I kind of went through this thing where I'm like, damn, I've talked about everything that I've been through. Like, I don't know where to.
You just want to be able to live some life a little bit, maybe take a little break.
Yep. So we did that. We took a whole year off and then started working on With Love and then dropped With Love. So that's kind of like the backstory of how it started to get to where I'm at now.
Okay, yeah, sure, that's dope and everything. I think Through My Eyes was the first project I ever listened. That was the one you put in the group chat and everything.
Yeah.
I was bumping it. Yeah, it was so dope and everything. So it's like during your creative process for Through My Eyes, I know you say you're pretty much talking about like what you were going through at the time and everything. Were there any songs on that project that you pretty much had, like, I don't want to say the most difficulty speak on, but just like songs that you pretty much that resonated the most with you going through that process?
BU is definitely like probably the more personal song on that album. And it just kind of talks about basically like finding your truth, being yourself, not worrying about the world, knowing that God has a purpose for you and make sure you stay in that, you'll be okay. But then on the back end, it was talking about me losing my father and my regrets on how that happened. And it's just like I talk about like now I have to apologize through the song because I didn't get to apologize to you for the things I did when you were here. And it was like, kind of like just reflecting back on that. And yeah, so that's definitely the most personal one on that album.
Okay.
And then there's a few that's like stand out, like Change featuring Andrea is probably one of my favorite songs on there. And that was like an accident because she wasn't supposed to be on the hook, and then she sang the reference, and we're like, oh no, you're staying.
It happens. Music is so crazy that way and everything. And I know we could pretty much go back into like your whole creative process. But I want to go. We didn't really go deep in like your childhood and everything like that and everything. Because I know you said that you had lost your father and all and everything. Could you pretty much describe like the process? Don't have to go deep.
No, I got you.
But it's like, but basically, like when it went to like you losing your father and everything, and just like growing up,
Right.
life with your family life and everything, biracial, right? You are biracial. Your dad was white and then like your mom was white. Okay, and just like growing up in Kingston with like a biracial type family and everything. What's the experience?
So yeah, just basically like my parents went through a divorce. I was in elementary school, middle schoolish, somewhere in that transition. And so I dealt with that at a young age, and that kind of like put me in a space where like I didn't have an example of love growing up, right? So my reflection, a lot of my music talks about how that made me who I am today with like as far as insecurities go, as far as like serial dating and shit like that. I try to be transparent about that. So that's a part of that. And then going through like high school, I was an athlete, two-way athlete. I played football and ran track and field.
Oh, dope.
And my freshman year-ish, my grandpa and my dad both started getting like really bad sick. And around my sophomore year, I was at track practice, and my dad actually like had his first like really bad accident. He was diabetic, and he was he went to like a diabetic coma and things like that. So I ended up coming home from track practice and found him, and he was unresponsive. So take him to the hospital and everything, and they're basically like, oh, he's not gonna make it. Da 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 da.
Dang.
He ended up making it, and they ended up having to put him on dialysis and everything like that. So my entire high school, from like age 14 up, I was basically taking care of my dad.
Oh, really?
And that was all throughout high school. And my grandpa was kind of like, he was always that step-in figure to be like, okay, well, I'm going to try my best to raise you as this man or whatever. And then he passed as soon as I graduated high school.
Dang.
And then my dad passed like shortly after I came home from college. And it was like, all right, fuck, I just lost my two father figures back to back. And then that's kind of like, yeah, pretty much like, grew up fast, had to be the man of the house at an early age, and didn't really get to like enjoy your childhood, so to speak. Still had fun, you know, and especially being an athlete and everything, you still get hella friends to kind of like comfort you in moments and shit. But as far as like having a childhood, I ain't really get to experience too much of that. So
I didn't lose any of my parents and everything. My parents went through divorce as well, like a little bit when I was older, you know, so it was like at a transitional phase, like before I was in like adolescence and stuff. So I saw less of my father and everything. And in a sense, like since I kind of became like a surrogate father for my younger brother, which is like, you know, it's just when you're in high school, it's like you just want to chill and just want to hang. But then it's like, but then like I had to, as soon as I got my license and everything, I had to take my brother to football practice. On top of that, I had to be able to be on top of my schooling, and I was screwing up in school like at first, then trying to find a balance with life with that, trying to get enough money to just do the things that I wanted to do and everything. So it's like, you know, I can understand like responsibility is such a heavy thing, but I feel like, you know, when you look at life from a more broader perspective and just kind of see like the difficulties that we went through and everything, it's like reflecting on what God is trying to teach us and everything. So it's like from you losing your father figures and you having to kind of step up and become like, you know, the man of the house, you know, it seems that God at least trusts you to like, you know, responsibility. And I feel like that reflects in like your music as well, because you produce all this stuff. Some people drop a project and they don't try for like a lot of years. Like I'm in that class for sure. I dropped a project in 2021 as well, and it's like I'm just getting back into the studio again to put in something else, you know. And it's just like it's all a process. Don't need to compare or contrast or nothing, but it's just like, you know, from that responsibility, that sense of responsibility to get something done and get something out, I feel like that's well reflected in your music and everything point. You know, it's just like, you know, somebody, just a little thing that you don't even realize, you know. So it's just like, you know, responsibility is a very huge part of like, you know, becoming an artist on top of accountability. You got to be accountable for yourself, accountable to people that depend on you, you know, whether if it's like people on your label or whatever, you know, trying to get your label out or whatever you're trying to get out. You got to take accountability yourself to do the due diligence to get whatever you got to get out, you know. And this is like, you know, you got to face algorithm on the internet. Some people are just more popular. You got one song talking about popping pussy. You got one song talking about Snapchat me that pussy. Like, we're very far away from like deep music, you know, but it's still out there and it's still well appreciated.
That was why I made basically a promise to myself early on in making music that I'm not going to make music with the intention to blow, to be a superstar or anything. It's simply to make a difference in at least one person's life. And I've talked about this before, and I'll touch on this every single time I get on a podcast. If I don't care if 1 million people hear my song, if only one person, if it touches them and it's able to make a difference in their life, I did my job. I feel like that is truly God's purpose for me on this earth, is to use my words and be able to transition people's lives, and that's pretty much it. So as long as I can do that, I'm happy. And
there's like this one artist I knew about, like, and just how much appreciative, like, you know, like your fans can be of your music. Yeah. There's one artist I knew about on SoundCloud, and this is during the time when one of my grandmothers passed away. She was dying of lung cancer, so I was kind of feeling kind of numb to it. But I heard this one song that he posts called Old Krills. His name is Nasty Nick and everything. So it's like when I was listening to it like at the dead, and I'm like, dang, this is a really dope artist. I've been listening, and it's like, and he hasn't really, although I wish he would like blow up and everything. You know, I'm sure like whatever comes from will come from when it's time to come. But at the same time, the joy of like really like knowing about an artist that nobody knows is like good. It becomes personal and everything. Like there's another artist I know about called Lamont Wiley and everything. He dropped a lot of this on like, you know, like well, not a lot, maybe a couple, but like Midas and everything, and like Came a Long Way, and I'm like, these are all in my like shuffle list and everything. Sometimes it's good to take a break from the mainstream, because a lot of the stuff they put out is really just for us to destroy ourselves anyway. And I feel like people are becoming more and more tired of it. And become more fatigued. You know, things just go in stages. You know, every presidential, we always get an opposite. You get a George Bush, you're gonna get a Barack Obama. After Barack Obama, you get a Donald Trump. Then you get Joe Biden, and then you go back to Donald Trump.
Nah, that's fact.
And that's what it is. So it's just like, you know, it's just gonna be self-reflecting of the times. And I feel like there's a lot of soul that's taken out of music, a lot of just, you know, a lack of personality in music. Now it's just the same thing over and over and over again. And that's why it's very, very important for you to just stay true to yourself and like what you're doing and everything. And I feel like you got that all in spade. And I feel like that's what's going to latch you on to new listeners and new fans. So really, it's just a matter of just getting it out there and everything. Not for the sake of blowing up, just for the sake of it getting to the right ears and everything. And I feel like that's going to carry you on for a really long while. So it's just like, you know, off of like, you know, the aftermath of like you losing to patriarchs in your family and everything, and just like where you're at currently now, just moving into Charlotte, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, right now, like I just basically went through a transition phase where I questioned my faith in religion. So now I'm in a year that's been heavy on me. Finally reconnected, got my faith back. I think that I'm honing in on finding what my purpose is. So wherever my purpose leads me in 5 years is where I'll be. I hate that do the cliche answer thing.
It's okay.
You know, I think that's it, man. I think over the next 5 years, I'll still be figuring it out. And on a music standpoint anyway, I think I'll still be figuring it out and hopefully just doing what I love. That's it.
That's all right. Sometimes that's all it needs to be, man. It's just like you don't have to complicate yourself. Okay, I got to be here. I got to own a house here. I got to have this many money right here. I got to own this reward. Although those are good things and wonderful things, they're not everything. Just keep in mind, like, bro, there was once a time To Pimp a Butterfly was snubbed over, what was that dude's name? Macklemore.
Okay, yeah.
Just keep in mind, you know, and awards aren't everything, you know,
man,
and it's just.
I'm happy where I'm at. I could stay like this for the next 5 years and I'm good.
Exactly. I'm cool. Exactly, but regardless of the matter, I just wanted to like let you know and everything from personal experience of seeing like how you perform and everything. Even at the Charlotte Spark, I was glad I was able to see that performance because I've been listening to music for a minute. So actually, I should see you like perform in person. It was just like wow, dude. I appreciate it. And everything. That was my favorite performance. I ain't gonna lie. I'm like maybe I'm being a little bit too personal, maybe I'm being biased. You good. Whatever the case is, I feel like it's really, really dope to see like so much positive energy comes out of like a Charlotte Spark and the community that's growing out here and everything as a whole. So like I'm not really sweating any building a community or a stake. I feel like we're all pretty much realizing it to the point that there was something for a while, but I think it's steady changing with the DDA team,
especially with like you said, like with Trey Rhodes and stuff like that. He's got the right idea. It takes a little more execution, and we talked about this, but the execution gets a little just a smidget better on SparkFest, man, that shit's gonna be huge.
It is gonna be huge, man. He just opened Art Factory and everything. So just like
he's on his way.
He really does what he's about to say. That's another thing. He's been doing this for 3 years, bro. Like, and even J. Cole's having his doubts about getting Dreamville going and everything. You hear it and everything, but Trey is willing to do that at work. So that's why even though he's from Augusta, Georgia and everything, I feel like he's like really grown into him being like a Charlottean because he's really done the work to actually put a lot of artists on when a lot of people aren't even willing to do that. Like, I don't even think he got Chuck T last time. And now he got Chuck T. So it's just like, you know.
So it's a big step, man. And I think each year it'll keep getting better. And then, like you said, with Tink, she's doing her thing. Shout out to Tink. We got DDAD.
Need to get her on. Need to get her on.
We got DDA Day is coming December 21st. So y'all be on the lookout for that. It's nice. It'll be a showcase thing for her birthday or whatever. So,
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna be some familiar faces on that lineup possibly. So
okay, I'll be sure to pull up. Bring the Christmas spirit with the artists and everything. All right, so like especially for the DDA Day, say December 21st and everything. December 21st, y'all hear that now, right? Put it on your calendars. No excuses and everything for sure. Definitely got to get Tank on for sure. If that's the case, man, you know, we're getting close to like an hour. It's about to close and everything. I want to be able to let you know, like, from like me, this is real me and everything. Toasty right here. Just want to let you know, like, I'm proud of you. I like what you're doing and everything with the music thing. And I'm sure you'll find the success that you're looking for. I'm certain. For most definitely. If that's the case, like, that's it for the Mental Threads podcast and everything. We're signing and we're signing out. J4, got any last words before we go off?
Nah, man, just Nah, not really. Stream with Love out now on all streaming platforms. That's it, man.
That's it. That is it. That is it. Okay, that's it for the Mental Threads podcast. We're sewing in, we're sewing out.
Appreciate it.
All right, cool. How's you feeling for that interview?
It was good, man. It was dope.
You done a whole lot of podcast episodes already?
Not.
I'm not?
So the only podcast I'm tapping in with was Tanner, which is he owns PTP, and then
Nice.
my boy Zebo. They got a podcast called Last Minute Podcast.
Oh, okay.
So I've been on there like a few times just because I mean that's the homies. It's like, hey, what you doing Sunday? You want to pull up? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll come. But as far as like outside of that, I've been trying to, but one, they're hard to find, and two, when you find them, it's like
They're not even serious
always
about
a
it.
hassle or they're not serious, and that's why when you said what episode this was number wise, I'm like, okay, this shit he's consistent. And that's always the biggest thing. That's how they are. They're on like they're up there too. I don't know if they're probably like 150-ish or something, but they've dropped an episode every single week for like the past 3 years now.
Okay.
Like nonstop. So I think that's where you go. Like y'all both of y'all consistent. Just keep putting it out there.
Yeah, most definitely. And at the same time, two other podcasts you should reach out to is Mouthing Out for sure. Yeah. And there's something called the G Rich Show. He's been doing this for a while. Okay. So I'm trying to get it set up where we have some type of, we're about that. And everything, and we're trying to set it up where it's just like, if we get somebody on the Mental Threads podcast, maybe we can get them on the Mouthing Out podcast, and get on the G Rich Show as well. We can just do it like that. Yeah, make it like a 3 appearances a year type.
Jern got the fingers, Jern got the juice.
For something, question nothing, better go big or go home. Know your purpose, know you're certain, or I gotta go. Lately I've been focused on my own. I've been keeping time and changing tones. I'm confused and tired of what you want, 'cause it's on me, and I'm playing for keys.
I won't say I got the options, but lately I feel like I'm blessed with a few. Your troubles succeed and they fail you. Really depends on the way that you view them. Know that I taken a few of these losses to heart. Know that I question my worth. Know that I changed my position in life from the day that I put me aside and I put the Lord first. Know that I question these chances, delivery given to make my advancements. I balance decisions and weigh all my options. I know that my path full of things that'll humble me down, and I know that I'm bound to give vices. Sacrifices I made, tell me it can't get much worse. So why this all still hurt? But I carry these stones all the way to my grave. I'm trying to give grace. I'm trying to get closure by pulling you closer, then look at your face and I say I need space. It don't make sense and I know it. These emotions hard to just show. When I'm balancing heartache and losses and traveling lonely and still getting lost in these places that should be familiar. Just know that I feel it. My empathy grow when you feeling the notice. I'm giving my focus to everything else. Shit, everything else. I give you what's left and I hope it can help. Yeah, I hope it can help. Won't push you away 'cause I know how it felt. Yeah, I know how it.
For